Welcome to Scared Silly Podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Zako Ryan. This is your one-stop shop for scary stories told by funny people. Everything from ghost stories to folklore to aliens, hauntings. It's right here. Listen, I couldn't have started this podcast without one of my really good friends. One of the funniest guys I've ever met. My co-host, I hope he's here every single time. The very funny Anthony Fuentes, everybody. What's up, Anthony?
Yes, sir. What up, brother? What up? Tu gordito favorito. I'm here.
Bro, you know I don't speak a
here, brother.
You know I don't speak a lick.
I know.
We've
You should, though.
We've been through this. I got a Puerto Rican stepdad. I've known him since I was 8 years old. I still don't. I got Goya. That's about it, man.
That's it.
Goya.
But you know what? With that alone, I give you your Puerto Rican card.
I got Goya and Chupacabra. That's what I got. I know Goya and Chupacabra. And I even rolled the R there, Chupacabra.
You did. You snapped.
Dude, are you excited? Are you excited for this podcast?
I'm so hyped, bro. I'm very hyped. Thank you for having me here, bro. Man, I'm excited about this.
I'm so excited. For everybody that this might be your first time listening to this podcast, I don't know what you watch when you turn on TV, but every time I turn that TV on, Anthony, I'm going to true crime. I'm going to aliens. I'm going to Bigfoot hunting in the woods. I'm going to serial killer, Ted Bundy, You name it. I'm a stand-up comedian, man. I'm not watching sitcoms. I'm not watching stand-up comedy. I love scary shit, man. And here's the thing. I have scoured the podcast world for true crime or a scary podcast that will present itself in a natural stream of conscious, funny demeanor. You know what I mean? Just in a funny way, in a conversational way, and I can't find anything. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start one on my own. I can do that. I got a computer. I got internet. I got friends. I'm going to start one on my own. And here, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you the story of how this podcast got started. But first, we've got a lovely guest that I want to bring in because I want her to hear this story too. This next guest, I've had the pleasure of working with her. She runs her own podcast. She's got a great podcast. It's a top 100 comedy podcast about sex, dating, relationships, and everything in between. It's called Menage a Pod. I've been a guest on there a few times. She's a huge fan of true crime and tacos, and she's a magnet for all damaged souls, humans and dogs. And here's the thing. She credits her emotional intelligence to years of therapy and loves to dole out unsolicited advice to anyone who will listen. So I was like, who better to start our podcast off than this beautiful, lovely lady, Gena Grish. Give it up for Gena Grish, Anthony.
Yeah, welcome, Gena. How you doing?
Hello. I love that. It's like I wrote it myself.
You did.
LOL.
You sent it to me. You know my vocab. You know the Southern boy doesn't have that well of a vocab.
Gena, when you had me at tacos. You said tacos. I was intrigued.
I know, right?
Tacos are delicious. Gena, have you ever been on a scary story podcast or a haunting podcast, true crime?
No, I can't say that I have, but I am a huge true crime junkie. I have like a heavy rotation of podcasts, and I think there's maybe like 7 of them that I listen to.
What's your favorite true crime podcast?
Do you want me to rattle them off? I don't know if I want to take your audience away.
I don't give a shit. What's your favorite? Just give me your favorite one.
My favorite one is called Red Handed.
Wrong answer. It's called Scared Silly with Zako Ryan. That's what it's called.
Thank you.
Well, considering this is okay, you're right. Ask me in 2 weeks when there are a couple episodes under the belt, and I'll let you know.
Unbelievable, Anthony. Our first guest here has already thrown us under the bus.
You had me at tacos. You lost me at whatever you just said. I don't even want to repeat it. I'm brokenhearted.
Listen. I want to tell you guys because this podcast is going to be all about telling our scary stories, whether it's current stuff that's going on in the media or the things that we were raised with. But all I know is I'm from the South, right? So down South, the way you interact with people, anytime you're around a group of people, number one, the one thing you wanted to make them do was laugh, right? And the second thing you wanted to do was tell them about your scary story. And when I moved up north, I realized it's way more popular where I'm from in the small town of Beaufort, South Carolina, to interact with people in a social setting about your scary stories. Like it wasn't this weird thing to just be in a group of people at 5 p.m. and everyone's telling their ghost story that happened from their childhood, or this one time that they saw this Bigfoot in the woods, or the one time that they experienced a Night Hag when they were trying to sleep. And then when I moved up north, I realized that really wasn't like a part of standard conversation, didn't get brought up in dialogue. And I was wondering, is this because I'm from a small town, like that's in the middle of the woods and all this other stuff, and we don't really have like too much media down there, or a big city and other things to worry about. So I really wanted to start a podcast where I'm bringing in people from all different walks of life, and we're all talking about like the scary stories from our childhood, the things that we were raised with from our own demographic. Like I'm from Beaufort, South Carolina. Anthony is from New York. Jenna, where are you from?
I'm from Maryland.
Maryland. Okay.
Yeah.
Crab cakes.
Ooh, snaps.
Crab cakes, yes. And a lot of Battlefield.
And a lot of Battlefield. Yeah, absolutely. So here's how I knew I was supposed to start this. I got the idea about starting a scary story podcast, and that day I'm just having a day, right? And my mom called me that morning, and things are going on. She calls me again at like lunch. Things are still going on, and then finally around like 5 p.m., I get around to having the time to call my mom back. So I call her. We're chatting how normal people do with their mom. Hey, how's it going? Are you still not going to jail? Stuff like that.
I love that that's a normal conversation you have with your mom.
Oh, I gotta tell you. She asks me. Yeah, you're not pregnant. That's what you get. I get you. You're a free man, right? You're a free man.
Are you calling me for bail money?
Exactly, right. So I call her back, and I know what my intention is. Like I want to talk to her for a little bit, but then I want to tell her that I want to start this scary storytelling podcast, because I know she'll be into it, because my mother is an encyclopedia of ghost stories and scary stories. I mean, this woman can't go into a house without being like, I feel a spirit here for sure. I'm not using the restroom on the second floor because the light flickers. Like she is like that type of person. So I call her, we're just having this conversation. And I remember like she called me twice that day, and I'm like, yeah, what'd you call me for? Like, let's start with that. She's like, baby, I just can't remember. I'm trying to think, I just can't remember. And I'm like, well, let me tell you what I called you for, what I wanted to talk about. So I wanted to do this thing. And then she goes, oh shit, I remember why I called you. I'm like, okay, why'd you call me? She goes, I was talking to my girlfriends yesterday, and we just got to talking about scary stories. And I thought, you know what would be fun? A scary story podcast told by funny people. And who better than my son, who's a stand-up comedian? I go, you're kidding me that's why you called me today, was to tell me I should start a scary storytelling podcast. She's like, no, that's exactly why I called you. I go, Mom, that's why I called you. It was to tell you that I'm literally starting a scary storytelling podcast. And then it went on this whole rail of like how our brain waves are intertwined, and that's because of all this little sci-fi voodoo and shit like that. And I was like, I'm supposed to be starting this podcast. Yeah. So boom, Scared Silly with Zako Ryan began. And then that day I call Anthony and I tell him the idea. I'm like, here's the idea. I'm going to start this scary storytelling podcast. Next thing I know, me and Anthony are an hour and a half, 2 hours deep into just talking about everything. The paranormal, hauntings, the Cecil Hotel, the Conjuring. And I'm like, bro, you're my co-host. For sure. Please be my co-host. He said yes. Scared Silly with Zako Ryan. Co-host Anthony Fuentes was born. Is that insane? It's like a creepy way to start a creepy storytelling podcast. But like in that moment, I just knew like that's what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yep. I love it. It was meant to be, bro. It was meant to be. What? Especially that your mom was going to call you and tell you the same story. I mean, come on.
That's crazy, right?
That's insane.
That's crazy. It's even crazier because my mom never calls me anymore. You know what I mean? Like she's not a big, she doesn't like just always be calling me like, hey, how's it going? She only calls me when she wants me to make some things to either make her scared or laugh. But anyways.
Mom sounds a little intuitive.
She is.
I think your mom's got a little like juju in her, you know?
Maybe.
She is. Yeah. My mom, all right, so we're from Beaufort, South Carolina. This is the story that my mom likes to tell all the time. So my mom, back before I was born, she goes, her and her cousin, they go to my aunt's house. And they're hanging out. They're having a party. My aunt's moving out of this house, so they're over there. My mom goes upstairs to use the restroom on the second floor. And it's one of those bathrooms where you've got two entrances. You've got an entrance from the hallway, and then there's an entrance on the opposite side of the bathroom that goes into a bedroom. Right? You can see that door from the toilet. So my mom walks into the room, shuts the door, and she sits on the toilet, she's using the bathroom, and she can see the other door, the lights on in the bedroom, and the kids are in there playing. She can hear the kids in there playing up on the second floor. She uses the bathroom, leaves, walks downstairs, grab a drink or whatever, and it gets to the point where they're ready to leave. And my mom goes, okay, let's get out of here. And she sees that my aunt's about to turn and shut the door, and she's like, well, wait. Are you leaving the kids here by themselves? And she's like, what are you talking about? Am I leaving the kids here by themselves? She's like, no, there's the kids that are upstairs in the room. And she's like, there's no kids that are upstairs in the room. She's like, there are kids upstairs in the room. Are you kidding me? Like, yes, they are. And she's like laughing. She's like, are you drunk? Like, your kids are here. Why are you so stupid? You're leaving your kids here. She's like, Tammy, what? There's no kids here. So my mom just like pushes past her and she's like laughing. Like, my sister's this drunk. You know what I mean? Like, she's so dumb. Let me go get these kids. So she walks upstairs and goes through the hallway into the bathroom, and she sees right there, like, the lights are on. She hears the kids in there playing. She opens the door, and when she opens the door, the lights are not on. There ain't no kids in there.
No.
And my mom goes, she goes, I feel this rush come through my body that I've never before felt. And she like walks downstairs, and then those three like talk about it, and they're all freaked out right now. Like, they can see it on my mom's face, like how terrified she is. This is real, right?
Yeah.
So they leave. They leave that day. A year goes by. About a year that goes by. My dad used to own a restaurant called El Matador in Toledo, Ohio. She's in the restaurant. People get to talking about stories about the old house and things like that. And it triggers in my mom's memory. And she goes, holy shit. I have a story to tell you, and I forgot. I haven't even talked about this for a year. I've never told anybody. I've never discussed it. And that my dad and everybody that's with him was like, tell us a story. So she tells a story, and they're like, you're full of shit. No way, none of this happened. I'm like, I swear to God this happened. Wait till my cousin gets here, because she's on the way to the little party, whatever gathering they had. Wait till she gets here. We'll talk to her. I won't say a word. You ask her what happened the day that we were at my sister's house. They're like, all right, whatever. So she comes, the cousin comes there, and she walks up to my mom, and my mom's like, I think it was Tandra. She's like, Tandra, tell them what happened the day about a year ago when we were at my sister's, and she was closing up the house, and it was about the kids upstairs in the room through the bathroom. And her cousin starts crying. My mom's like, what? And she goes, Tammy, I just told that story in the car on the way here, and I haven't told that story or talked about it in a year since we left that house.
That's crazy.
My mom starts crying, like her sister starts crying, and obviously the guys are like, yeah, whatever, you're playing. But like, my mom, to this day, she tells that story and she gets like goosebumps. She's like, I don't know why, but we left that house and didn't speak a word of it. And my mom, if you know my mom, if you are around my mom for at least 30 minutes, she's about to tell you some ghost stories. You know what I mean? So for her not to tell that story, and then for her and her cousins to tell the story on the exact same time when they're coming together at the restaurant, they were like, this is insane. Is that crazy?
That's crazy. First of all, I'd have left my sisters at the house. I'd have walked out. I'd have been gone. Fuck my sisters.
I'm out of here.
Hey, listen, I'll ask my mom to adopt somebody. I'll make new sisters. Yeah,
I'm out of here.
I'm gone. There's kids. I don't even want my kids, let alone some ghost kids running up in my house. Shit, I'm gone, bro. I'm out of there.
To me,
I'm in the driveway.
To me, the scariest thing in movies is when like they pick the little kids to scare you. Like, I hate.
Yeah.
That.
Oh, a kid singing in a scary movie is the most terrifying thing you've ever heard in your life. I swear to God.
Kids singing?
I think I'm lying. Nightmare on Elm Street. The fucking kids jumping on the rope. Just still creeps me the fuck out, man. Kids shouldn't be singing scary movies.
Well, it's because they say a lot of times kids aren't really kids, right? They manifest as kids to like if it's a bad spirit, they manifest as kids to bring you in because you feel like a false sense of security when it's a little kid, and then it could just be like a really bad presence. I think I know way too much about this stuff. We have a lot.
That's pretty dope. I didn't know that.
That's
so
good.
You're telling me.
I want you to send me that in an email. So the next time, someone that I'm dating or my wife or girlfriend wants me to get them pregnant, I can just be like, no, this is why I can't have kids. It's because they're not even kids. They're a manifestation of a fucking demon.
I'm kicking my kids out of the house today. I'm like, you guys got to go. Y'all got the devil in you.
You got the devil in you.
Jenna said that y'all got manifest evil.
Kids, I knew there was something wrong with you. Not real kids, spirit kids.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm glad you told me that because next time I see a little ghost kid, I'm going to knock him the hell out. I ain't playing around. I'm like, bitch, I know you got something wrong with you. Jenna said you manifest evil. Yeah, I'm gone.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but that's the most thing that scares people's kids, man. I swear. If you want to start a scary movie in every trailer, you hear like a kid singing in the background or like those kids songs you hear and stuff like that. That's the shit that freaks me out. I love it.
Ugh. All right, so a little interjection here, just a little ad placement, everybody. This is the Scared Silly. This is the first episode of Scared Silly with Zako, Ryan. We're giving you the first 3 episodes for free. After that, every other episode is going to be free everywhere that you listen to podcasts, Apple Music, Spotify, what have you. And then if you head over to our Patreon page, for $9 a month, you'll be able to access every single episode. We're dropping episodes every single Wednesday. And for $14 a month, you'll be able to watch the full video of our podcast as well. And we've got some cool things coming right now. We're trying to save up a little bit of money to get, a couple new cameras and things like that, because eventually we want to start doing live shows and going to like some of these scary places and doing really cool things. Me and Anthony are going to try to get like a camera crew and go make some extra content for you. But we're going to go
find some ghosts.
We're going to be the faces of scary comedy. That's what our goal is. Call Vice. Get them on the phone. Zako and Anthony. You've heard of Opening Anthony? Scoot over. This is Zako and Anthony.
Yep. So we're gonna go find ghosts. That's what we're gonna find them. And when they're kids, we're gonna know that Jenna was right because they manifest an evil. We're going to put them on blast. We're going to show you these ghosts. There's so many ghost stories out there. I mean, you hear it, and a lot of them freak you out because you believe it because everybody has a ghost story. And it's impossible for everybody to have a ghost story. Some people see aliens, some don't. But everybody has a ghost story. Something that's happened to them, someone they know that happened to them. I remember you were telling me, Zako, about, what was it? What was this, the down south? What do you call her?
The Night Hag.
The Night Hag. I looked at that picture, bro. She looked evil as hell.
So a night hag is people up north have sleep paralysis. That's what they call it. Down south, we have to, for some reason, we're not satisfied with just like, it's sleep paralysis. We got to something's got to be there. You know what I mean? So we call it the night hag. And the night hag is basically a witch that leaves her physical body at night and comes and sits right on your chest and just chills there and hangs out. And you wake up and you see her. You look at each other eye to eye and you're like, hey, how's it going? She's like, hey, how's it going? You're like, can't fucking breathe. Everything's tight. Yeah. You're like, you weigh 1,000 pounds. And she's like, I don't care. I'm going to stay here for about 10 minutes. Also, I might choke you. Like, hey. Yeah. And you're like, no, please don't.
Sounds like my sex life.
And she's like, I'm done. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like the night hag is like rough sex without the orgasm. I don't want it. That's just, you're beating me up, lady. Get out of here.
She sits on your chest. And I've seen the picture. I Googled after you told me about this.
It's terrifying. Google Night Hag.
Ugly. She looked like a girl I used to date.
Oh, my goodness.
And now she was the Night Hag. Now I'm stuck with the old nag.
Well,
so there you go.
In each one of these episodes, we're gonna dive deep into some, like I said, some folklore, some alien, some haunting, some ghost story, what have you. I'm gonna pass it over to Anthony because in today's episode, I want to talk about the Cecil Hotel.
Oh, the Cecil Hotel, man. That shit was crazy. You watched the documentary. You watched it, Jenna?
I haven't, but one of the 8,000 podcasts I listened to told me about it, so I didn't have to.
It's a disturbing place. Let me tell you, it's like you hear all the stories they were talking about. And I mean, it got built in 1924. There was so many murders there. The serial killers that stayed there. What was the Austrian one? Killer Jack Wessinger, was it?
Oh, yeah. The Killer Jack. Well, he was a reporter. Yeah. Well, he was a murderer, first of all.
No, he was a murderer, yeah.
That's what he murdered. And he murdered someone in Austria, in his hometown. So he went to jail. And for some reason, he only went to jail for 10 years in Austria. Yeah. Apparently, murder in Austria is a DUI in America.
Yeah.
It's not
How many did you kill? 3? Okay, 10.
You
10
gotta
years.
get like three murders before they like put you away for good.
5 for life. 3, you get 10.
In Austria, 3 murders and they take away your driver's license. It's
insane.
That's
you get suspended. That's it.
It's crazy.
House arrest after 4.
This dude got out of jail after like 10 years after murder and was like, well, just gonna do the thing that feels natural and move to America. Moves to America and becomes listen to this, becomes a reporter of the paranormal. You're kidding me.
Yeah.
He becomes a reporter of the paranormal. He goes to LA. By the way, the Cecil Hotel is right in the heart of, what's that place? Skid Row.
Skid Row. The hood. It's ghetto.
Just the place of poverty in this country. Like, so poverty riddled and crime ridden that the government, they don't even like go in there to try to like save this place or do anything. It's the Wild West up in there. They literally corridor it off as if like they're quarantining that. To get in and out, they're like checkpoints. And people that are like lost in life, they just walk into Skid Row and never come out. And that is where the Cecil Hotel is, right there on Skid Row. And the problem is all these people, they come from other countries and stuff and they go to LA and they're like, they see the movies in Hollywood and the glitz and glamour and they're like, okay, but I need a cheap place to stay because LA's like mad expensive and it's mad bougie and the salad was $25. So they go, okay, the Cecil Hotel's got room for $7. I'll go there. And then they go to the Cecil Hotel and then it's full of horse shit. People getting killed. People haven't. I read a story in 20 years to the day that Cecil Hotel opened. A lady gave birth in her room, and then opened the window, and Tom Brady threw that motherfucker right up out of it, right on the Skid Row. She threw her kid out of the window. 20 years
right?
To the date. Who knows? She just probably walked into Skid Row and they couldn't find her. Because those people on Skid Row, it really is just like they don't have identification, ID anymore. They don't live this normal life where like things are exchanged monetarily. They're like, I'll fuck you for a sandwich. Like that's the kind of shit going on in Skid Row. So it's crazy up in there. And then talk about the documentary, Anthony. About Elisa
it was crazy.
Lamb.
I mean, the Elisa Lamb, the girl who disappeared. Yeah. You know, they said she was acting strange. I thought she was just high as hell. I was like, damn, she on some shit. She was doing all those creepy moves and touching the elevator. I was like, she's smoking that yeesh, boy. She on that fire. Yeah. But they said that she started freaking out in there. But here's the thing. Like you said, people go from all over the world to stay there. But I mean, after Killer Jack lived there and all those murders happened because of him, then Richard Ramirez, the other serial killer, stay there.
Oh, the Night
At
Stalker.
what point do you say, you know what? Cecil Hotel, maybe we should close it down.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good idea. I mean, you got 2 serial killers, not one, but 2 serial killers that live there. Like, at what point do you say, you know what, maybe it's a good idea to close this hotel down?
Dude,
I don't think it's a good idea.
Ramirez, he would go out and he murdered like 34 or 35 people, and they were all like random. He was super hard to catch because he didn't care. Girl, baby.
You think, what are you doing? He eating ice cream? Come over here. Yeah. That's it. You're done. Murder. That's it. And last mint chocolate chip ice cream cone you ever had in your life. You got killed by Richard Ramirez.
And he'd kill them.
Now you're dead.
He'd kill them and he'd come back to the Cecil Hotel and he'd be walking through the corridor, bloody pants, bloody shirt, no shoes, no socks, blood on his face. Fucking cross
and no one said nothing.
And no one said nothing because they were like, this is Skid Row. We see this.
Yeah.
These are the things we see.
Why is it even open? It's not like they're making money. I can't.
It's not open no more. They finally closed it down.
Well, they closed it down, but they're making renovations right now. So what they did was, and this was in the documentary, here's what they did. So people would look on the Cecil Hotel was obviously out before like Yelp came out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then Yelp came out and everyone's like, oh yeah, like how do you give a 0 star? Because this place is trash. And they just 0 starred this place up and down the wall. So then they couldn't get people in, right? So then what they did was they partitioned the building. So it was the Cecil Hotel, but then on catty corner from it, they made a whole new entrance called the Stay on Main. And they painted it orange, and the new corridor, they painted it orange, and they put a new logo online so it looked like a whole different hotel. But guess what they shared? the same elevator.
Same elevator, yeah.
And here's the craziest thing about the Elisa Lamb story. So here's what happened with Elisa Lamb. So she's a BC student, British Columbia. She came from Canada, and she was a big content creator, right? So she was like glitz and the glory of LA. Same shit happened. She wanted to experience LA and all this other stuff. And she had a nice little following online. So she comes.
It was like Tumblr or something, right?
Yeah,
just
Tumblr,
a blog. Just a blog.
Yeah.
So she comes to the Cecil Hotel and she stays. And she's there for, a little bit of time, but she's blogging the whole time. Everything seems fine. Then she just disappears.
Yep.
She disappears. So they're like, what's going on? So the cops come there and they're like, hey, we need to know, what's up with this chick. And they're like, oh, she's crazy, bro. Like her roommates were talking about how nuts she is. So we had to move her to her own room. And like, you got to be doing some goofy shit if the Cecil Hotel comes up to you and like has to move you to a different room. You know what I mean? So they move her to a different room. They check the room. They can't find nothing. They're like, well, we got to scour. She's nowhere to be found. We got to scour these elevator videos. You know what I mean? So they look at the elevator footage for days and days and days. They got 14 cops looking for this elevator footage. They're looking for it. They finally find the elevator footage, and it's crazy creepy. Have you ever seen it, Jenna?
I have.
It's crazy creepy.
Yeah.
It looks
she's like walking all weird.
Yeah, she's like talking to somebody that you can't.
Hiding in the corner and shit.
Yeah, you can't really see who she's talking to. It's all crazy, and she's like waiting for the elevator to move. It's not going up and down, none of this stuff. Then she gets off, disappears, right? So then they're like, okay, well, let's find the elevator footage of when she leaves. You know what I mean? Because she got to come down the elevator. They can't find it. So then they're like, after like 14 days of looking for her, like out in the streets of LA and stuff, they're like, she never left this hotel. So now they're scouring the hotel, looking everywhere, can't find nothing. Go on the roof, can't find nothing. They leave, can't find nothing. This is a missing persons case. Well, a couple weeks go by. People start complaining to the front desk. They're like, hey, man, like we got really low water pressure. Water's kind of dark, brown, gray.
Tasted bad.
The craziest part, it was a couple that stayed there from England or somewhere in Europe.
Yeah.
And they stayed there.
And they're drinking the water.
They saw the water. Here's the funny part. They said when they turned down the water pressure was low. Then they said the water came out brown.
Yeah.
Then you said they drank the water. Now, here's my problem. At what point do you think that it's safe to drink brown water? I don't know. I've never seen, like, you saw the water, you know it's low. You're like,
I don't know. It was LA. They might have thought it was like kombucha or some shit.
Mineral water or something, bro?
They're like, damn, LA's got kombucha coming out of this sink. This is crazy.
Yeah.
This kombucha is like hair in there. They're like, is this like the hair that's in the kombucha?
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you what the hair was. So then they call the maintenance guy, and they're like, hey, man, like your water's brown and it's not coming out. You need to go like check some shit. So he goes up the top floor, uses the key because the maintenance is the only people that got the key to the top floor. Goes up there, walks all the way up the water, the little water. What do they got? What do they call it? The little water tanks. They got like 3 water tanks in there. Walks up the water tank. The lid's open. Looks in. Sure as shit. Elisa Lamb right in there in the water tank.
He said she was staring at him while she was just floating,
looking up. So now this is what's crazy to me, dude. Here's what's crazy to me. The cops went to the roof, dude. Yeah. Like, how bad of an investigator are you? So that
you can't find. Because
there's no way they went on the water tank, because if they went up on the water tank, they would know that the tank's open. Here's something else that's crazy. Yeah. Your water tank is open, bro. So now not only is a body in there, but rainwater, dirt, rats. Like, is there no locking mechanism on this? Is there no like signal? Because to get onto the roof, you got to go through the door, and to open that door would send an alarm to the front desk. But Elisa Lamb went through this little window on the corridor of that top
Fire
floor.
escape.
So, like, why, dude? You know what I mean? Like, she clearly didn't commit suicide in like a normal mind state, because in a normal mind state, you're going to kill yourself. You're going to just jump off the building, right? You don't want to drown to death, right?
Yeah.
So clearly, and if you look at the elevator footage, she was going cuckoo, bro. She's going crazy. And they find out, here's the thing. They find out she wasn't taking her prescription.
Meds.
Wasn't taking her meds. So whatever like chemical imbalance occurs because of that, that's what ends up happening.
Yeah.
I think she was...
that's good.
Sorry. I actually think that she was murdered. I know. Like, yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
See, I kind of think too.
Well, let's go. Gena, give us your synopsis here.
Okay, so a couple of things. From my understanding, the lid was closed. Do you know for sure that it wasn't?
So here's what they said. They said it was open, but then the cop that reported it to the news
reported it closed.
Reported it as closed on accident. So then they never went back and looked at it again.
Yeah, and the police report said it too. It said when they got there, they went to open the lid.
But what kind of crazy mistake? That's a wild, stupid mistake.
I agree with you, Gena. I agree with you.
Because I don't think she's drowned. Like, you can't drown. I mean, it's not deep enough for her to drown in something like that. You could float, right? Yeah. I think maybe she couldn't get out and she starved, but I think she was already dead before she got in there. And and I think that the elevator footage was doctored a little bit because there's like a piece where, like you said, you can't see you can only see her. And there's like, you don't know if she's talking to somebody. I think it's someone either maybe from the hotel or, I mean, who knows, right? Because there's a lot of, not to sound like my mom, but there's a lot of like riffraff in that hotel. So you don't know.
Riffraff up in there, yeah.
There's a lot of naughty things going on.
And it's LA. Riffraff could literally actually be in there. The riffraff.
Yeah.
Rapper Riffraff could actually be in there.
That's
like a rapper. No. So I think I think it was a murder. I'm convinced. Because medication or not, I mean, I don't know. I can't imagine you'd climb into... She was a little girl, too. So for her to, like, open up that giant water tank would have taken a lot of strength for her.
Yeah.
Climb in, and then what's she going to do? Just take a swim and never get out?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, not only that, you're right. Because when you see her in the elevator, she kind of looks incoherent. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're telling me she incoherently walked up that ladder, all the way climbed up that ladder to the roof, and threw herself in there? To me, it doesn't make it. It's too hard to do in her frame of mind. The way she was acting, moving her hands that way, and I get what the doctor's saying. She might have been going through a psychotic episode, but I don't see how you could do all that. I'm crazy myself, but I mean, I agree. I think someone might have took it because then they try to use an excuse to cover everything. Oh, well, her clothes were off when they found her.
Yeah.
So they said, oh, well, maybe she took her clothes off to be lighter. I've been in swimming pools and I'm fat, so I go swimming with a shirt on because I ain't trying to traumatize no kids. I ain't taking my shirt off to be lighter in the pool. I'm light. I'm in the pool. You know what I'm saying?
You wouldn't just take it off just like for your own, just to maybe feel a little lighter?
If I want to fuck up a kid's head, yeah. But if I'm just in the pool,
and like, how's
it gonna make you lighter? You in the pool.
Who's gonna look in a water tank and be like, I just want to make sure I'm a little lighter when I get in there.
Yeah, let me take my clothes off.
What if she thought? Maybe she thought it was the. Maybe she just thought it was the pool. Maybe she saw the budget at the Cecil Hotel and she was like, "This might be the pool. This place sucks."
My thing is, what is she, synchronized swimmer that she could take her clothes off in the water while floating?
None of it makes sense.
And it's taking everything like it don't make sense, bro. It don't add up. And then they started trying to come up. Then the worst part is the people on social media because they try to come up with all these freaking stories that they're trying to do. And they're trying to make up all this shit and talk about, I saw a guy that stayed there, some rock and roll guy that lived there.
Oh, yeah.
Who was a Mexican rocker. They playing the poor Mexican dude who was a rock and roller, man. He had shit to do with that.
See how they try to just put it on the Hispanic guy?
Always.
No, right away. The only Spanish dude in there was like, he did it. It was him. He likes rock and roll.
They wanted to bring whole ass North America down. They were like, it's a Canadian girl in America, had to be a Mexican guy. You know what I mean? They trying to bring the whole ass continent down, bro. This is a continental affair all of a sudden. Yeah. They saw one. They were like, you know what? Just find the last Mexican guy that stayed here. He probably had something to do with it.
What was his name?
They looked him up and he was goth. And they were like, absolutely, that guy did it. For
absolutely
sure.
Did it.
He's got a mohawk? For sure. They killed.
Yeah.
They're like, what do you think his motive was? They were like, he's got a mohawk. I don't know. Mohawk.
Yeah, he likes rock and roll. What are we in 1960s and 70s? Because he likes rock, he wants to kill people. It was crazy. They were trying to come up with all types of conspiracies. Anything that was creepy. She died on a Monday. Her great-great-great-grandma was born on a Monday. You know, like, come on, bro, you're reaching, man. I think, and then the thing is, they were I felt bad for the manager because all those murders happened under her watch, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you will never get another job as a manager again after you lost your job with the Cecil Hotel. As soon as they look at that resume, oh, you the bitch that worked at the Cecil Hotel? Nah, we good, man.
You could tell too, because when they
we'll call you, we'll be in touch.
Yeah, because when they try to interview her, they're like, "So what are you doing these days?" And she was like,
"Yeah,
what am I doing these days? I'm hoping you guys stop talking about my previous employment. That's what I'm doing these days. I ain't doing shit.
I'm hoping y'all got a job for me after this or something." It's just crazy, but there was one guy who followed the story closely, and he was saying, like, he noticed stuff on social media that he would peep, but he noticed that too with the cut where you were talking about, Gena, about the editing of the video, and he would show it. He's like, look at the numbers, they don't add up. So that could be too, you know. I think maybe, you know, there's some, you know, cops don't want to look bad, or maybe the staff doesn't want to look bad, you know, because they already look bad enough as it is. I mean, all those murders that's happened there have been in the Cecil Hotel. And then my thing is too, it was laughing because she said, when I found out they found the body, I called my mom. I said, Mom, be ready. I'm like, be ready for what? What, the killer's going after her next? Like, what are you getting ready for? Why are you calling your mom?
She goes, before I called the cops, I called my mom.
Oh, my mom. Before I called the cops, I called my mom. Yeah. Hey, Mom, I'm gonna call the cops. And not only that, too, why would the parents, if the parents knew she was bipolar and she had all these medications for depression, why would you let your daughter leave the country?
Yeah.
Not the state, the country, to stay in a whole nother country away from you, knowing she's got all these issues with her, without sending somebody to go with her. You know what I mean?
I mean, it was negligence. That's always like hindsight's 20/20 type thing, because you also do gotta like trust and let people be like adults. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The whole situation's just crazy. You ever had a scary moment in a hotel? Like
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have.
Ooh, tell us about it.
Can I just say something really quickly? I think, have you guys ever heard of that? It's a theory. It makes me sound like such a dork, but like the theory called Occam's razor.
No.
Heard of this?
No.
So basically, what it is it's like a term that basically means like if like the answer is easiest answer. Sometimes it is just what it is. So like people, especially on things like this, like on the internet, they're constantly like trying to come up with theories and make it like you were saying, Anthony, like, you know, everyone came up with all these conspiracy theories. I sometimes think it just is what it is. If she was having a psychotic break, and this water tower was on the roof, she probably would have jumped off the roof, right? Like, why are you going to go up to take a swim? You're going to just go up and just.
That's a lot of work.
Right? It's a lot of work.
That's what I'm saying. I'm fat. Did that kill myself? I ain't doing all that work. I'm just going to just jump, man. I mean, come on,
that's
man.
What I'm saying. Especially if you're like having a psychotic break, it's not like you're getting creative. You know what I mean? You're just like, it's like a means to an end. So I think the answer is just the easiest answer, which is maybe I think she might have been murdered, unfortunately.
Occam's razor.
Yeah.
Occam's razor. Yeah. Occam's
razor. That's another way to kill yourself.
Yeah. True. This is
true.
But
a razor. Go figure, man.
But yeah, so I had gone to Honduras for a friend's wedding a long time ago, and I was in a hotel there with my then fiance, and it was the weirdest thing. I was like in the middle of the night, and I purposely didn't turn the light on to go to the bathroom because I was like, I don't want to wake him in a small hotel room. And I go in, I close the door, I go to the bathroom in the dark. So my eyes have adjusted by then. It's not like I'm seeing things. And then the next thing you know, I go and I open the door, and there's a man, there's like this short, little, sweet, chubby, older man in his like fuzzy bathroom robe and his slippers. And because I was half asleep and I wasn't expecting to see him there, I go, oh, excuse me. And I like squeezed by him like you do like in a bar line to go to the bathroom.
And this is in your room?
In my hotel room, yeah. And he goes,
wow.
What?
He goes, just nodded. Yeah, he just nodded, like, no worries. And I was like, excuse me. And I just walked by, and I laid back in bed. And the minute my butt hit the bed, I was like, what the fuck? And I flipped the light on, and my ex-husband was like, what's going on? What's happening? And I was like, I think I just saw a ghost. I saw him. We were there for 4 days. I saw him 3 out of the 4 days.
What the fuck? You didn't report this or talk to the people at the hotel or anything?
I didn't. And I remember trying to do research on the hotel and like nothing came up, like nothing weird, no sightings. You know, usually
you're looking weird, chubby guy.
Yeah, but it was the same guy. Yeah, little weird chubby guy. And he was like an older gentleman. He was like a grandpa. He was so cute. I didn't feel threatened or I wasn't afraid, obviously.
He was like, you're a cute little ghost. How you doing, little ghost? Chubby little ghost.
I was like,
cute.
Hey, Grandpa. He was really sweet. And he didn't say anything. But it was the same thing every night. So like, you know, if you're a believer in ghosts, it's sort of like an imprint is what they call it, right? So it's like you're just sort of, this moment is imprinted in time that happens over and over the same time in the same way every time. Because it was literally the same thing. And I was like, is this a ghost Groundhog Day? I don't know what's happening.
So hold on. So those other times that you saw him, hold on one second. We're probably going to ask the same question. So those other times that you saw him, did you also just fucking shimmy by him?
No, the third time I flipped the light on in the bathroom and then he was gone. Poof. He just disappeared. But the second time I looked at him and I go, oh, you again? I wasn't even.
You again.
Keep talking to go. Oh, you? How you doing? Can I get the soap, please? I'm gonna wash my hands real quick.
Thing is in my family, we're so used to this.
That's right. She said, oh, you again.
Yeah, we're so used to this kind of stuff. We're all, well, except for my mom because she's a little religious. But my sister's a ghostwriter for celebrities, and one of the people who she helped write her book was Teresa Caputo, the Long Island medium.
Ooh.
So, and she's like now a friend of the family, whatever. She's great. But so like she's made us all believers. I was a believer before, but like watching her work is pretty intense. So like, and I know so much about it that it doesn't scare me.
So you were cool with it.
I was totally fine with it. I mean, I've had some really, really scary experiences that I'm not okay with, but that wasn't one of them. Like you sort of get a feeling of like, does this entity, like, is there any malice behind what they're doing? Are they like,
is it evil?
Energy? Right. Like it's not a little kid running around.
Is it a child? Is it a child?
Exactly.
Yeah. Is it a little kid? Then I got to worry.
Yes.
It's a chubby guy. Chubby guy means it's all right. I'm just going to wake up in the morning. Twinkies are going to be missing out of the cupboard. That's all I got to worry about with chubby ghosts.
I love scary stuff. I love hauntings, the paranormal. I love it. But I love it from the safety of my living room when I'm watching it through a television. If I wake up and walk past a short fat guy in a robe who's not supposed to be there, I will shit down the left side of my leg. Are you nuts? I would be freaked the fuck out.
Well, you never know. It could be me one day, Zako. I'll be there. You're exactly just sitting there staring at you. You'll be like, God damn it. Now I got the real thing.
For you.
Yeah, it's just Anthony. He's like, bro, we're doing a ghost story at this hotel. And I'm like, oh shit, bro, you got to stop. I thought you got your own room. This is how I know. This is how I know I'm scared shitless, because I'm watching a movie. One day I was watching this scary movie with my girl, and it's you know the movie The Bone Collector?
Yeah.
Where it's like the guy collecting all the girls and he's putting them down in the dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
And the part comes where the girl gets out and she's running through the woods, right? And the guy's chasing her.
Yeah.
I'm 6'5", right? 230 pounds. And the guy that's chasing her is like an older, he's not like, he shouldn't, right? Like you wouldn't think, but what I said was, that motherfucker would never catch me. And my girl looked at me and goes, why would you be running? Like, what? Why would you be running? Like, that is an old man. What are you, nuts? Why are you running? Why wouldn't you turn around and fight that guy? I was like, because here's the thing. If you got the nuts to capture me and put me into a dungeon or in some cell or anything, you probably got the nuts to kill me for sure. And I'm not like trying to be here, sit here and be like the tough guy in the dungeon where I'm like, well, I'm going to get us all out of here. I'm about to be like, I'm fucking gone, dude. Like, good luck. But I got out of this wooden door on my own, so I would just hope everybody else can too. Hell yeah, I'm running.
See, I ain't got to worry about that. I ain't got to worry about that. Ain't no one trying to kidnap my fat ass. That's a lot of work. That is a lot of work.
I don't know.
To take me,
I don't know. A lot of these
I would just stand there and
movies,
look like, what are you doing?
I don't know. A lot of these scary movies, they drive pickup trucks, so they might be able to throw you in the back of
That's
that
true.
bitch, you know?
I definitely fit in the back of one of them. But I got a question for you, Jenna. So you said you saw this chubby guy, right? It's probably my cousin. I don't know. But now, was he? Where'd you say you were when this happened?
We were in Honduras.
Honduras. Okay. Was he Spanish?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Now, did he come the same time at every hour, every time, the same time every day?
Gosh,
or was this different times?
I don't know. I didn't look. But I mean, it was every time I got up to go to the bathroom. So maybe it was. Wow. It just my brain just woke up. But
yeah, that's crazy. So you just go to Honduras and there's Honduran ghosts?
Ghosts, yeah.
I guess so.
I always wondered that. Like, how come there's not Australian ghosts like in Chicago? Like, how come every time I see a ghost, he's not just like, throw the ghost shimp on the bobby. That's my Australian.
Yeah. Hello, Mike.
Like, how come it's always... That's why, like, the one thing is, like, how come we don't ever see, like, ghosts that speak a different language?
Like Steve Irwin or some shit, right?
You know what I mean?
That would be dope.
But that's probably why.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now, so you saw him every time you used the bathroom, though?
Not every time, but I would see him once a night. Yeah.
But you happen to be going to the bathroom?
Yes.
So he was the bathroom
the bladder of a child.
That's his thing. He knows when you're gonna pee, and he's
he's
like Santa Claus. He knows when you are sleeping. He knows when you're awake. This guy knows when you're gonna pee.
Yeah,
he just knows. He's like, oh, it's coming. I'm gonna just stand here and look at it.
Anthony, what about Anthony?
You're like, can you hand me the toilet paper, please?
Yeah.
Anthony, what about you? You ever had a scary event happen in a hotel?
Man, I've had a few of them, bro.
Tell us your best hotel scary story, and then we're gonna wrap it up with Gena's. I
got
story.
one. It's not a hotel story, but I spent the night at a place.
Okay.
And I had the worst. So this was in New York. I had a friend of mine. Her name's Millie. She's a close friend of mine. We're gonna crash at her crib because this is when I was young. We would go out and hang out. And this is in Brooklyn over there on Flatbush. So we're staying there at her crib, and her mom's talking to me during the day before we were going to go out. It was probably like about 4 in the afternoon. We're just talking. She showed me pictures of family. She's like, oh, I have a thing. She's telling me these stories, all these ghost stories she knows about, all these things that's happened to her. One of the instances, example, she mentioned that her daughter, she heard her screaming one time. And she's like, help, mom, help. And when she walks, she's like, what's happened? What happened? She's like, nothing. And then 2 days later, someone tried to rob her daughter, and she could hear the daughter screaming out the window, help, mom, help. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. You know, like she can see this. So she's asking me questions. Then all of a sudden she goes, do you have like an old member in your family that passed away? And I'm like, yeah, I know a lot of old people that died. And I'm thinking like, oh God, here we go. You know, that's she's just making shit up, you know? Of course, who doesn't have an old person that died?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, everybody's old that dies. I'm like, yes, okay. But she's like, oh, you know, I just saw an old man staring at you with a gray suit and a hat, like a fedora gray hat almost. I'm like, cool. Does he got money? Can he give me some? Because I'm broke. But, you know, I just kept it to myself. I'm like, whatever. So we go out that night. Me and her daughter, my friend, we go hanging out. We have a few drinks. It's a whole crew of us, you know, a whole group of us. Go out for some drinks. We hang out in the city. We come back to her crib, right? I crashed in the other room that night because they had 3 bedrooms. So I crashed in the other room. I got up that night to use the bathroom. As I go to use the restroom, I come out of the bathroom, everything's dark. And I saw a dude staring at me. I swear, I couldn't see his face, but I saw a body of an old man with a gray suit and a gray hat. And I bugged the fuck out. I screamed like the biggest bitch there was. And I didn't give a shit. I was like, ah! I was like, yo, Millie! And she came running. I'm like, yo. She turned off the light and I didn't see it. And she's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I was like, nothing. Good, I'm good. And she's like, why the hell did you scream like a girl? I was like, I was going to get raped. And she's like, but what? I don't know. I thought I saw something. I leave me alone. So I went to bed that day and I slept like a kid again with the blankets over you. You know, like for some reason we think like morons that the blanket's going to protect us. Like they go, oh, he's got a blanket. No, I ain't going to fuck with him. I can't see him, you know? But so a few days later, I tell my father this. Because I didn't want to tell them because I didn't want to give her the benefit of the doubt that she was right. I can't give her that. You know what I mean? Because then she's going to be like, ooh, I got another story to tell. There was this fat bastard that stayed in my house and screamed like a girl. I ain't giving her the benefit of that. So I go talk to my dad. I says, Dad, yo, I tell him what happened. I saw the guy in the gray. And he's like, oh, my God. I'm like, what? He's like, my father, your grandfather, who passed right before you was born, was buried in a gray suit with a gray fedora hat. And I said, get the hell out of here. Yeah, and that was the very last time that I was friends with Millie. I was like, no, bitch, you know too much crazy shit. Your mama crazy.
You made Millie pay for that?
It was bugged out to this day. Oh, yeah, because I was like, your mama crazy. She the devil. She know people, and I'm scared. And I believed it. I never, like, I still hear stories and believe because my mother was religious. You know what I'm saying? And I told Zako this a long time. What made me really believe in ghosts was because my brother-in-law is a pastor, and we was talking. He's a laid-back dude. We were having a conversation, and I asked him, so you believe in ghosts? He's like, yeah. And I said, okay, why do you believe in ghosts? And he's like, because even the Bible says that ghosts exist. I'm like, get out. He said, yeah. You ever heard of a Nephilim? And I was like, a who? Nephew? He's like, no, Nephilim. He's like, it's these angels that came down from heaven and mated with women who were humans and made demon babies, basically. You know what I'm saying? Because they wasn't holy nor bad. Yeah, a Nephilim. Look it up. And they found in the world, there's pictures of fossils of people who have very scary mutations, long heads, and they said those are Nephilims. They've even found giant human bodies. Look it up. It's online. And you see them, big guys, Nephilims. So supposedly when the Nephilims die, since they can't go to heaven and they can't go to hell, they stay here in limbo. So that's why I'm like, yo. And when I seen him, I felt it. I just felt like you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie, I screamed like a girl. It bugged me out.
Damn,
that was crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Great story about Nephilims. We're gonna have to do an episode on Nephilims.
We got to do an episode on that.
We're gonna do a story on Nephilims.
And chubby ghosts.
And fat chubby ghosts. But
chubby ghosts.
We're gonna turn. Yo,
you know what would have been messed up if the guy, real quick, it would have been messed up if it really was a guy who just could sneak into her bathroom at night and he would just pretend to be a ghost because he was like, oh shit, she caught me.
Yeah,
and then she would turn on the light. He would take off running. He's behind the curtain. She no catch me.
All right, we're gonna turn. We've been here for about 50 minutes. We're gonna turn this thing over to Gena. Gena, I know you've got a finale of a ghost story to give us, right?
I do. I had other ones in mind, but your story, Anthony, reminded me of. It's a feel-good one. So I'm gonna do. I feel like I should
close the episode with a feel-good ghost story. I like it. Oh,
I'll give you.
You're not gonna make me cry, are you?
No.
Okay. Good.
But it's about a family member. So my parents are Italian. My mom's Italian. So we'd call my grandparents Nana and Popsy. And my Popsy, he was the best. He and I were very, very, very close. But he died when I was like 10. I was young. So at 16, I had sex, right? Little whore. It's fine. And
teen mom. No, I'm just kidding.
No. Thank goodness. And the one time, I think it was whatever, I lost my virginity. This guy, Nick, by the way, he's an asshole. So whatever.
Fuck you, Nick. Just so you know, fuck you, Nick.
20 years later. Anyway, so he and I had sex once. It was fine. The second time, the condom broke. And at 16, I was freaking out. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what to do. I was really worried. And one night I'm sleeping and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. And my mother, be a little crazy, comes storming in the room, flips on my light, and she goes, "Are you having sex?" And I said, "What? What do you mean am I having sex?" "Of course not. I'm an angel." And she was like, "Yeah, no, let me tell you about the story I had." And apparently she very rarely dreams of her father, my Popsy. So she hadn't had dreams about him for years. And then this dream was, they're on the phone. I guess in her dream, he called her and said, "Hey, Jenna's really sick. She's been throwing up all day. I'm not feeling well. What do you think I should do?" And my mom's like, "She'll be fine. She probably just has an upset stomach. Give her some ginger ale and crackers." And then she hangs up the phone. And then a couple minutes later, the phone rings again. And he goes, "No, I think you have to come over. I think she's pregnant." And I freaked out when she tells me this story because I had just had sex with a broken condom. And I was like, "Oh my God, am I pregnant?" Turns out I wasn't. Thank God. But what it did was it opened up the conversation between my mom and I to say "Hey, yes, I am having sex. And yes, I should be on birth control or whatever." But I would have never had that conversation had my Popsy had not said "Hey, my daughter, you need to look out for your daughter, our granddaughter, because she's having sex and and she just had a scare." How crazy is that?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Wow, that is.
Isn't that
is really cool. That is really cool.
It's a weird way to have the
Did you deny it the whole time?
Bees.
I know. Well, also kind of weird thinking that they're watching us having sex. That was where my brain went with that.
Ghosts?
Yeah.
Oh, do you think ghosts are watching us have sex?
I was thinking the same thing. No, but that's why I was thinking too. I didn't want to say it, but you said it for me because I was like, "Can Pop see it happening? Was he watching? You know?"
Yeah.
Man.
She's like, "You don't want to see what I was doing, Pop."
Yeah.
But now, so
I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I'm good enough for them to be like, "Yeah, I'll watch this whole thing." I'll watch this whole thing.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'd rather watch scrambled porn. I've seen better scrambled porn on channel 00.
I mean, I'm sure they have 2 minutes to spare, Zako.
Oh my goodness.
That leg, honey.
3 minimum. You know what I mean?
Okay.
3 minimum.
It was Nick. What do you expect? It was Nick.
I know.
Nick was never more than a 3-minute banger, okay? Let's put Nick on the blast.
Yeah.
So what we should do is send the Night Hag to Nick's house so she can sit on his chest.
Yeah.
Right?
A big ass Night Hag too. A big old one of those like big old
1,000-pound.
You know what I mean? Wyoming steak and potato Night Hags. You know what I mean?
Hunts for rabbits and eats them at night type. You know, just sit on her chest,
sitting there because
say hi, Nick.
Not even sitting there because she wants to sit there. Sitting there because like she's gotta. You know what I mean? Like she wants to stand on him, but
and she could say evil things to Nick. Like, you know what? Heavy. You know why this is happening, Nick.
It's like that's a scary breath. She's just like, just this is how I know. This is my normal breath. I'm on my big mouth. She's
like, I'm gonna stay here for 3 minutes, okay? Because that's how long you normally last.
She's like, it's like, are you still here? It's 20 minutes. I thought you were here for 10. She's like, for 10 minutes, I've been trying to stand up. But trust me, I don't want to be here any more than you don't want me to be here, Nick. You know what I mean? Well, that was episode 1. Thank you so much, Gena Grish. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to episode 1 of Scared Silly with Zako Ryan. We're trying to figure this whole thing out. We've got episodes coming, like I said, every single Wednesday. Myself, Zako Ryan, stand-up comedian, my co-host, Anthony Fuentes, and our lovely guest for episode 1, Gena Grish. Check her out. Check her podcast out for sex advice, love advice. Just hilarious. Her and her co-host TJ Saposi are just so funny to listen to. Check them out on Menage a Pod. You can find them on the cool people list, on the podcast list, or in the top 100 in the comedy section. All right, we're out of here. See you later. Episode 1. See you next time. Peace.
Peace.
Thanks, guys.